What's up, YouTube? Mini Minchino here, and welcome back to another Minnycast. For those who are new, this is the weekly podcast vlog type show where I share with you some updates and, just talk about something for a little while. And, I've got a few things to talk about before we get into, today's actual topic. I'm sorry there wasn't a minicast last week. I had some issues with editing and stuff like that, so it didn't end up coming out on time. So I figured, you know what? I'm just gonna wait. And I felt that doing today's topic instead of what I did last week, would probably be better. I still have the audio from last week's minicast, but I honestly think I'm just gonna redo it because I don't really like the way it turned out anyway, to be honest, and it was kind of on the fly, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna take that time, make sure what I put out is of a little bit better quality in terms of what I'm actually saying, rather than just sort of an on-the-fly thing. However, I do still intend to tackle what I tackled last week. But yeah, so I apologize for that. I have a Q&A going on for minicast number 50. It's right around the corner. If you guys got any questions about me, about my channel, heck, about blindness, if you're ever curious about that, feel free to ask away, or just anything in general, interests, thoughts about stuff. I'd love to hear from you. But yeah, that'll be coming up pretty quick, so feel free to comment on this video with your questions. You can send them to me on Discord or Twitter. Either's fine, whatever strikes your fancy. And yeah, I'll hopefully be answering your questions on minicast number 50. I haven't gotten many so far, so chances are I will get to them. Their chances are very high. But at this point, I'm rambling, so yeah. I don't really have anything in terms of actual updates this week, however. There wasn't really anything going on channel-wise. I am thinking of a new series to do, since we did actually finish Dust: An Elysian Tale. If you missed that, definitely go back and watch it. It was a good time. That last boss fight was very difficult, so, it was a great time, though. I was really, really happy. And finishing that game always, fills me with, a bittersweet kind of feeling. It's kind of sad, It's a good time, though. It was great. I'm really glad I revisited that game, and, just that game sometimes, even though it's bittersweet, makes me feel good in the end. But yeah, so that was a thing, and no real updates, honestly. But I do have something that I do feel like I should at least touch on before I get into today's topic. And this is kind of, I could make a separate video about this. However, I don't know too much about the situation in order to make a video about this. And that is, all the riots and stuff going down in the US right now. I believe a lot of it has to do with the fact that, there was a black man who was essentially killed by police. There was a video circulating, basically, showing this dude was assaulted, essentially. And I don't know the exact details of what went on, so I highly encourage, if you guys don't know about this, I highly encourage you guys, look this up for yourself and, educate yourselves on the topic, because I am certainly not the source that you should be relying on for this. I do just want to kind of bring up, however, that, I don't know, just my general thoughts on the matter on a surface level of this happened, and it sucks. And, I mean, without intending to be dismissive here, let's be real. This situation does suck. A man was killed. I assume several others were as well. I assume several others are being killed or hurt in these riots and stuff like that. Now, the thing with riots is that stuff does not come out of nowhere. It's evident that stuff has been building up for a while. Police brutality has been a thing for a long time, far longer than it had any right to. And just, I guess just it eventually just boiled up and people snapped because they've had enough. And you know what? I get that. I don't think that rioting is the right answer for this, but I mean, I can't, I'm not the authority on this. I shouldn't really be saying much about that. However, I just kind of want to put this out there just to all my friends and everybody that happens to be in the States. I know I have some family there. I've never met them, but I know they're there. And they'll probably never see this video or anything like that, but I hope that you guys are safe. I hope that you guys are able to be safe and get yourselves out of a potentially dangerous situation. Stuff is going crazy right now. And that's all I really have to say on it at the moment, because again, I don't know enough about the situation to go in depth, and perhaps I'll look more into it and talk about it another time or something. But right now, that's not really my place. I just want to say, like, I hope all my friends and family out there are safe and are able to keep themselves safe and stuff like that. And you know, I I just hope that everybody else out there, um, you know, are able to be safe as well, whether you're friends of mine or not. Just be safe, everybody. That's all I gotta say. And I've been saying that through this whole thing about Corona and stuff like that, and that holds true here as well. And yeah, it probably does not do this whole topic justice or anything, but I just wanted to get that out there real quick, just because it's been on my mind. And yeah, things are just crazy, and I hope that they're able to settle down and things are able to like get sorted out. And evidently, given the situation, changes need to be made. And this whole assaulting people for racist reasons is just ridiculous. It needs to end. It should have ended a long time ago. It should have never been a thing, in my opinion. So, honestly, that's all I can really say about it on a surface level. And I apologize for things being a little bit of a downer. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, should you wish to talk about that as well. I'd be happy to, you know, hear other people's perspectives on this and the actual topic for today. So, again, without intending to be dismissive of what's been going on, I'm kind of gonna dive into some personal stuff and some thoughts that I have had, and things of that nature. And this is kind of going to be a little bit of a downer episode again, and I do apologize for that. So, I mean, if this ends up being too heavy of a topic for you and you feel that you don't really want to watch this video because it's like triggering you in a certain way or something like that, I completely understand, and feel free to leave the video if that's you know, if that's where you're at. I totally understand, believe me. I almost didn't make this video, to be honest. Like, I told my brother that I was going to record this because stuff happened and I almost didn't. And I'm like, you know what? I need to confront this. I need to talk about this, and I guess I'm going to. So, you guys know that back in November I was dealing with not so good times. Not so good times. And I ended up in a very dark place. And this isn't necessarily about what happened there, but I did a mini cast where I had stated that I would be going to therapy. I eventually did go to therapy, and I stuck with it as long as I could, and it was really helping me. I was, you know, able to, you know, talk about a lot of my insecurities, about my vision, about myself, about my image, my self-image, self-esteem, you know, all kinds of stuff like that, and anxiety, things of that nature. And it was helping me. The problem I soon faced was that once I moved here to my current apartment with my brother, it was a scenario where I had to pick between paying for rent and or food or paying for therapy. I could not do both. And I'm in a situation where, you know, it's my brother's here. If I can't pay rent, we're getting evicted. If I can't pay food, we're not eating. That's not good for our health. And since my nephew has been coming here back and forth, that impacts my nephew as well. He is 1, you know, and I'm just like, I can't risk that. So unfortunately, I had to end my therapy sessions. And at the time, you know, I was in a little bit of a better place. My overall mood was higher and was just better and stuff. And you know, I was like, even my therapist was still a little bit worried about it. wondering if I was ready to leave and stuff, and I knew that I wasn't. But I didn't have a choice because, again, it's either I'm paying for rent or I'm paying for therapy. And I mean, the same goes for food. It's either rent and food, or therapy. I couldn't be both. And I'm still looking for another solution that would either be cheaper for me or, something that would be relatively effective in terms of getting, professional help, because I do still feel that I really need it. And this is going somewhere, I promise. Last night, I had a discussion with my brother, and this is why I brought up that trigger warning, because I guess it kind of triggered him, because we've both been through, similar experiences with how we've been treated as kids and stuff like that, and growing up dealing with all kinds of criticism from family and stuff like that, and other people around us that intentionally or otherwise were kind of mentally abusive. It was not the best. And I had often, even as a kid, and for some reason this has been just coming into my mind lately, and to be honest, I'm not sure why. But, I felt that I needed to get it off my chest because it's been bothering me for a long time. For the last month and a half at least. It's been, cropping up in my head every so often, and I kind of have to wonder, from a young age, I've just been constantly told, oh, well, you're blind, so you won't really be able to do anything with your life. Because, you're blind. No one will really accept you. You're always going to be different. And, just dealing with that kind of stuff. And I know that's not true. There are plenty of people in the world that have been successful despite their blindness or other disability. And they've been very successful in what they've done. Yeah, they had to work like hell and fight like hell to get there. But the fact of the matter is, they still got there. It is possible. But I don't know, I guess just hearing it enough and, realizing where, my life is at now and stuff like that. I'm working toward my goals. I'm working toward what I want to do. But, the fact of the matter is, working toward YouTube, as fun as it's been, as great as an experience as it's been, and I'm sure every YouTuber under the sun will tell you this, probably not the best idea to have that as your, main goal, you know what I mean? Because it's hard to get there. It's hard to get there. I've been clawing my way up since 2013, and, it's hard to get to that point. Now, I'm not doing YouTube specifically for the money and stuff like that, but I do want to see my channel grow, because I do want to be able to share my perspective as, a blind person just doing their thing and stuff like that, and deal with some of the stuff that occurs that I've noticed a lot of other blind YouTubers don't tend to talk about, probably because it's a hard thing to talk about. This is a hard thing to talk about, and to be honest, I've been still kind of avoiding it the whole time. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm being very avoidant of this. And it's like, yeah, there's that whole thing. It's like, well, you'll never really be anything. You'll never be able to do anything. You'll never be a normal person. You'll never be like a normal person. And stuff like that. Just hearing that the whole time. And it's kind of come into my mind a lot. Partly because of stuff that's been going on with the Unknown Empire. And I'm not saying this to throw anybody under the bus, because it's nobody's fault. Nobody has caused this. Nobody has directly said this to me or anything like that. However, and also everybody is doing their best to try to be supportive and help out as best they can. Everybody is fantastic. I can't stress that enough. I just want to make sure that it's, clear where I'm coming from, and that I'm not throwing anybody under the bus where they shouldn't be, kind of thing. Everybody's been great. The issue is struggles that I've been having in terms of being able to participate in story events that, to be real, aren't really occurring right now. For those who don't know, the Unknown Empire is a Minecraft SMP that is kind of a role play sort of deal, and it's super fun. It's great. There's great people. It's a great place to be. If you go back and look at my Unknown Empire Season 2 videos, you'll see that there's this ongoing plot going on. I've done some recap videos covering the story and stuff like that, and I was able to participate back then because we were in Minecraft 1.13, and the narrator functioned. Um, so it was difficult, but I was still able to do it despite, I had to do some funky stuff with editing and stuff, but I was able to make it work. Now that we've updated to 1.15.2, the narrator has sort of changed how it works. Also, the API for plugins that we're using just doesn't let you do what you're supposed to be able to do with the narrator, which poses a problem. Because, unfortunately, we need those plugins to make things work the way the way they do. So everybody's been trying to figure out a way to either make the narrator work or find another solution to allow me to be able to participate as well, while also making it, less irritating for everybody else trying to participate. And so we've been trying to think of a solution for several months now, and we haven't really found anything solid beyond having someone read chat out to me. Which in theory is a good idea. The problem I have with it, and again, this is not anyone's fault, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before, is that, it's that, sometimes they'll get distracted with shenanigans going on, with all the players interacting and stuff like that, and, having fun, as you should, right? And the problem with that is I tend to get confused as to what's part of the story and what's not, so it's hard for me to follow along, and then sometimes the person reading does tend to have the tendency to forget, just because, they get distracted and they're having fun. And I feel terrible because I don't want to be constantly reminding them to do it, because I don't want to ruin the fun that they're having and stuff like that. And they're also going out of their way to offer to do that for me to begin with, so I don't want to sit there just being terrible about it, you know what I mean? It just sucks for me that, my ability to even do that on my own has been, derailed, I guess. I mean, I could sit here and say, oh, it was taken away from me, but it kind of wasn't. I can still use the narrator in some ways. It just has the tendency of interrupting itself and stuff like that. I believe I do have a video that kind of demonstrates that, and it's kind of intolerable, which is why I don't do it. So it's kind of a thing, and it's not that anybody's pointing this out, it's just that, I don't know, it's just yet another reminder of how different I am compared to them, and how I'll never really, I just feel like, they do accept me for who I am, and they do, treat me with, the respect a human deserves, and, they treat me like a friend, because they say this to me, and I believe them wholeheartedly. They say, you are our friend. And, I have no reason to doubt that, and I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all. So, when I say this, I don't mean to sound like an ungrateful person. I don't mean to sound like, I'm just being, ridiculous or dismissive of their intentions or anything. But, I mean, whether or not someone accepts me doesn't change the fact that I am still different, And, again, I appreciate that acceptance and stuff, because it's not something I've had much of outside of the blind community growing up. So, them just being who they are, and being okay with me, and just being down with having me around and stuff, that means so much more to me than, it's a treasure to me. Absolutely a treasure to me. The real issue is just, me having trouble dealing with these barriers or these obstacles that I'm facing and stuff like that. And it's really just bringing out a lot of things that I've been trying to deal with. And I do feel like the fact that I don't currently have access to a therapist that I can just talk to and deal with this at the moment, it's definitely evident now, if it wasn't back then, that I should not have quit. But again, food and rent, it's kind of important. So, and I had wondered at one point what would have happened had I not been taken out of the normal school system and stayed where I was. Like, what would have happened if I stayed at that Catholic school or managed to go to another school and, dealt with it? Plenty of blind people have. It's not impossible, but it's like, what would have happened to me had I not gone to the school for the blind? What would have happened? What kind of person would I have been? Would I have been able to get through it? And, my brother was telling me that, I probably wouldn't have been able to get through it. I probably would have, it probably would have broken me with all the bullying and all the stuff going on and stuff like that. Because, I mean, to be fair, I always have been emotionally sensitive and stuff like that. And you know what? Like, it wasn't his intention, but that really did kind of hurt hearing that. And it's just kind of like, I don't know, it just felt, I realize this may not have been the intention, but what it felt like to me when it was being said at the time was like, it felt like a confirmation that those people that were telling me that I'd never be anything were kind of right all along. And, it's like, if I think about it, what am I doing with my life now? I am focused on YouTube. I don't have a job outside of this. I don't have any money coming in besides what the government's giving me to stay alive. And I realize that's not entirely my fault, kind of thing, but, it's just kind of, all this is kind of coming to a head in my head, I guess. And it just kind of really hurts. And, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that is just insanely I realize a lot of this is just in my head, because like, I know it's not true. I know it's not true that I'll never be anything, kind of thing. I know that's BS. I know that's just hurtful crap that people said to me that isn't true in any way, but you still feel that, if you know what I mean, so it's like, how do you deal with that sometimes? It's just like, yeah, you can ignore it, you can say your responses as much as you want, but sometimes it just gets to you after a while. And I don't think that means I'm a weak person or anything like that. It's just, man, I don't know. I feel like it's easy to get discouraged sometimes, and that's kind of where I've been at. And then you realize that a lot of it stems from a lot of criticism that you received when you were younger and stuff. Like, I've often gotten from, certain family members, like, they would constantly, criticize me for even having a pimple on my face. That's a normal thing that people get, but, apparently it's like the bane of their existence, because they're holding me up to this standard of beauty that is just unrealistic and stuff like that. And now as much as I have been on camera before, because I've been trying to, overcome it, I haven't been on camera in a very long time because of that like fear. Every time I see my face, I hear that voice in my head from that person, just telling me, oh, you have this is gross, this is ugly, you're not you're just an ugly person, nobody deserves to see your face, kind of thing. And the worst part is that person never specifically said those things, especially not that last bit. I know that was not said to me in real life at all. But, I'm at that point where I'm just kind of like, I don't know, like, it's kind of hard to explain, and it's like, I don't know if I'm ready to actually talk about this, but here I am anyway. I don't know. And it's like, I know none of that's true. I know I'm not an ugly person. I don't consider myself like super pretty or anything. Like I'm definitely more along the quote unquote average, I guess, which is fine. I'm fine with that, honestly. Like I don't particularly care if I'm the most beautiful person in the world or whatever, but I'm just also afraid of being seen as just, this freak essentially. Um which is awful. And I don't know, half the time, since Discord introduced that, video function, so you can be in video chats like in a server and stuff. It's a great feature. Ain't gonna lie, it works very well. But I often don't use my webcam that much. Partly because I'm not comfortable with my appearance, and I'm not comfortable with other people really seeing that much. And I hate that that's even a thing, because I know it's bullshit. The worst part is, these people that I'm talking to have seen my face before. They know what I look like. They already know what my situation is. They already know I'm blind. I don't need to worry about this. But it's still in the back of my head constantly. I have no logical reason to be worried about this. I have no reason to be like, oh, my friends are gonna judge me, because they don't fucking judge me. And yet I'm still like just always anxious about it, about whether or not they're going to. And that's stupid, because they're not, and I know they're not. And yeah, I don't know. It's just something I've always struggled with, and I just feel like there's just been a lot of things that have come up in my mind lately, that have just sort of been bringing that back up, and all those, I guess, wounds are opening up again. And it's just like, I know what the truth is. I know I know what the deal is. I know that I'm not these things that people have said I am. I know I'm not just this failure that's destined for nothing. I know that I'm not an ugly freak of a human that doesn't deserve to be seen by anybody. I know that. I know that about myself. I am not those things. I am a human like any other. Yes, I have flaws. Yes, I have a disability. But so do other humans, and I'm sure that I'm not alone in feeling the way that I do. I am very confident in that, like 100%, that there are millions of people that feel the way I do for a variety of reasons. And I was talking to my brother about this after, I guess what I had said, really resonated with him, and, triggered him in a way. And, I do apologize for that, actually, John. It wasn't what I was going for. I didn't mean to, like, do that. And we have talked about this. We did sort this out. I just wanted to, I guess reiterate. But I totally lost my train of thought. But, I don't know, like, it's just, I know that I'm not alone. And I was telling my brother this. I found my train of thought. That, for some reason, knowing that I'm not alone in this is not a comforting thought to me. And it's like, some people could say, well, it depends on how you look at it. And that's true. That is true. I won't deny that. Because I could look at it in a way that it's like, oh, well, so many of us feel alone because so many of us are alone. And that sucks. And to me, it's horrible that anybody feels like that in the first place. I could also look at it in the sense that there are people out there that understand how I feel and can relate to me. And if I were to talk to them, they'd sit there and probably be like, yeah, I absolutely understand what you're going through right now. There are people out there that exist that know what I'm going through. Maybe not specifically, but like, it's kind of like, you talk to someone and it's like, yep, I've been through a similar experience. I totally feel you, kind of thing. And some people are comforted by that. And if that happens to be the case, then that's great, actually. Because you know what? Everybody needs that little bit of comfort every now and then. For me, however, it's just like, I hate the fact that people feel that way in the first place. It's like, yeah, I'm glad that there are people that can relate and do understand. But, I mean, the fact of the matter is, there's a reason that they do. And that reason is that they've gone through some sort of similar experience that has irreparably damaged them psychologically, the same way it did me. And, yeah, I'm doing my best to work through it and stuff like that. I'm sorry if this whole mess was a downer, and I'm doing my best to work through it. I know that I just have to. I mean, I say this like it's an easy thing. It is absolutely not an easy thing, but like, I don't know, maybe in terms of my fears and stuff, I just need to dive in. I just need to dive in more often. Maybe I just should be on camera more often and just give myself these new experiences where, people aren't gonna, treat me like crap just because they think I look ugly or something. And if I am with people that I already know aren't gonna judge me, I have nothing to fear. So I need to, just maybe expose myself to that fear a little bit more and tackle it head on. And I don't know if that'll work, but I mean, it's better than just avoiding it and not really dealing with it. You know what I mean? And as for everything else, I mean, I guess I just gotta live day by day, and I'm gonna work on getting back into therapy and stuff. Maybe they can help me with some, I guess, coping strategies or ways that I can, can help potentially help me come to terms with it and stuff like that. And so I can finally, do what I want to do. And I mean, on one hand, I am doing what I want to do, but I just want to stop hurting, and I want to do that in a healthy way that isn't going to hurt myself and isn't going to hurt people I care about, and do that in a way that lets me move on and be a better person and, start spreading that positivity and stuff that I want to share with people, So I do apologize again if this episode happened to trigger you in that way. I'm sorry it was such a downer, but it's kind of one of those things. The Minnycast was originally meant to be like one of those things where I would talk to you about something that was on my mind for that week. And this opportunity came, and I'm like, you know what? I have to tackle it. And you know what they say, the first step to solving a problem is admitting you have one. And I guess that's it. And it's, I guess, public. I hope this like reaches you in some way where if you don't deal with this, maybe it'll give you a little bit of perspective. And if you do, I hope that you get whatever help you need as well and are able to deal with this. And if you've gotten to a point where you are dealing with this, have had that help, or have figured out a way to deal with this, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts regardless. This is all about sharing thoughts, you know what I mean? And yes, I've been, feeling a little bit down lately with all this stuff going on and all these just insecurities coming out and stuff like that. I don't intend to, give up. I do still intend to keep doing what I'm doing and trying my best to make life the best it can be and do what I can to overcome, my obstacles and try to make life, you know, a little bit better. Just try to improve wherever I can. And just kind of keep going. Just keep on rolling. It's like the one Alter Bridge song that I keep singing. Life must go on. The sun always sets, the moon always falls. It feels like the end. Just pay no mind at all. Keep rolling. Keep rolling. Life must go on. You know. I know I've quoted that song on the Minnycast before, and I've said similar things before, but like I said, I hope this is able to, you know, resonate with some people in that they're able to get something positive out of this. And sometimes sharing your story can help you process it in some ways. So if you are comfortable with sharing your story, feel free. If not, that is totally okay. I absolutely respect that. Like I said, I almost didn't make this video, and here I am rambling forever. So, you know, once again, I'd love to hear what you have to say. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end it for today because I've been rambling for a super long time, you guys. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'd say I hope you enjoyed it, but it was admittedly kind of a downer. Please feel free to check out any other series I have on this channel. I promise they're all far more uplifting than this. So, you know, sometimes it's okay to show that, you know, you're not as... Sometimes it's okay to show that not so uplifting, beautiful, positive, happy side all the time, you know? Just shows that you're a human. This stuff happens, and yeah. But yeah, like I said, feel free to check out any of the series I have on this channel. Please send in your questions for the Q&A for Minnycast number 50. I believe that's coming up in like 2 weeks. This is 48, I want to say. So yeah, 2 weeks roughly. And feel free to join the Minchino clan on Discord if you haven't already. The link to that should be in the description down below. And until next time, you guys, Minny out.